Hey guys, it's been 3 days since the midterms and we still don't know who's going to win both the Senate or the House. The picture is more clear in the Senate. Democrats are likely to retain control, maybe even winning 51 seats. But in the House, which is what we're going to go over first in this video, Democrats have a lesser chance at maintaining control, but they do still have a realistic chance and a much better chance than initially perceived. The fact that the House wasn't called for Republicans on election night was very good news for Democrats. Democratic candidates are doing very well in races that you would not expect, and there's still a very realistic chance that they do win at least 218 seats, the number needed for that majority. And Republicans are really struggling in many of the key races. So first, I'm going to go over how Democrats are going to be able to maintain at least the 218 seats that they need. So I filled in many of the races that the major news media have not been able to call. This is the New York Times map 196 to 11, but realistically, Democrats have already won 214 and Republicans 212, even though many of these races are going to be very, very narrow. For example, in Maine, Jared Golden is going to win his re-election in the 2nd District, while in the 22nd District of New York, Brandon Williams is going to be elected over Francis Connell. And if Kathy Hochul was just more popular in the Empire State, Democrats would probably be in a much better position in terms of retaining their majority. There were 3 districts that Democrats were supposed to win. They were very, very close, but they were not supposed to go to Republicans because redistricting was supposed to help the Democrats win more seats than ever in New York. So looking at many of these close districts, the 22nd, of course, this is going to go to Republicans in the end, but Democrats were supposed to win this district. They were all supposed to win in the 19th District and the 17th District. Mark Molinaro elected over Josh Riley, and the big victory for Republicans in New York, the 17th District, Sean Patrick Maloney losing his re-election by just 1% to Mike Lawler, but also in the 4th District, Democrats had a very good chance. The 3rd District as well. If Kathy Hochul was less unpopular in upstate New York, Democrats would probably be able to hold on to House control as a whole and win a lot more seats in New York, because New York Republicans definitely had a good night. Even the Republicans as a whole did pretty abysmal throughout the midterms. Now, looking at the state of Colorado, we also have 2 races that I can call. The 8th District, Caraveo is almost guaranteed to win her re-election. Kirk Mayer has already conceded defeat. And in the 3rd District, Lauren Boebert is the winner. She is going to defeat Adam Fritsch. It's very likely that she's going to end up winning. She was behind for a very long time, even though this race is very, very close. And Boebert was supposed to win by almost double digits, considering that's what the margin Trump had. Adam Fritsch ran a very strong campaign, but in the end, Lauren Boebert looks like she's going to win by a very, very narrow margin. In Alaska, Mary Peltola is at 47% in the first round. This is without any of the 2nd or 3rd round votes counted in the state. Of course, Alaska is now using ranked choice voting. Peltola only won 40% in the election 4 months ago. That was the special election. She won 40% in the first round and still ended up defeating Sarah Palin by a 4-point margin. This time, she's going to win by much more. And for comparison, Lisa Murkowski only won 43% in the first round for her Senate race that she is going to defeat Kelly Tshibaka in. So looking at the remaining races, we have a few elections in Nevada, the 4th District, as well as the 1st and the 3rd. They're all going to go to Democrats. Democrats took a huge risk by splitting the one solid Democratic district that Dina Titus was in into 3 different districts that Democrats all had a good chance at winning, but they could also lose in red wave years. And so these races, even though the Democrats are going to win, they really did take a big chance, and this year it has paid off for them. There are also many districts in California that I am going to call: the 13th District, the 9th District, the 6th District. Democrats are realistically going to win in all of these districts in the western half of the state. I mean, just look at the margins that Joe Biden won these districts by in 2020. District 9, Biden plus 13, 13th District, Biden plus 11, and the 21st District, Biden plus 21.3. So those districts are not going to flip. And so with those calls, we now have this map here with 9 races remaining. Democrats are at 214. They're leading over the Republicans with 212. So we have 2 races in Washington and Oregon. So 1 race in Washington, 1 in Oregon. I'm going to go over these 2 elections first because they could make a difference. Now, the the Washington race is very, very interesting because it is in one of the two swing districts. Trump won this area by 4.5% in 2020. The other swing district, Biden, won by 7%. Now, in this third district, we have an election denier who defeated a Trump impeacher in 2022 in the primary a few months ago. So, looking at the third district, Joe Kent is the election denier that defeated a incumbent who did vote to impeach Donald Trump in 2020. And so that makes him a pretty bad nominee. That's why he's behind currently against Marie Perez, even though this is an area of the state that Tiffany Smiley won handily against Patty Murray. Joe Kent really is doing very, very poorly, and currently there's a very good chance that Democrats do win. And so since this map is to show you guys how Democrats can get to the majority, I am going to give Democrats this seat for now. It is not impossible for Democrats to win. Honestly, I would say they have a very near advantage here in the district as more mail-in ballots are being counted in both Washington, Oregon, and California as well. Mail-in ballots can be counted a week after Election Day if they are received and post-stamped on the 8th or before. So looking at the district in Oregon, we have a close race here as well. This is the 5th district. This is the only competitive district in Oregon after redistricting. Before, we had two, the other one being the 4th district, but that district has become a Biden plus 13 district. So in the 5th district of Oregon, we have the race between Andrea Salinas and Mike Erickson. Currently, Salinas is, or not, that's the 6th district. This district I've called for Democrats, but in the 5th district, we have Lori DeRemer versus Jamie Skinner. And so in this race, DeRemer is currently up by 2 points, but Democrats are going to do better and better in the 5th district, as again, more mail-in ballots are being counted. The margin for Tina Kotek versus Christine Drazan in the governor election is going up for Kotek, and so I do expect currently Democrats to win this race very, very narrowly, and of course, this being a optimistic map for Democrats, we are going to give Democrats this district because they are already at 216 seats. However, in Arizona, things are going to be significantly more difficult. I'm going to go over the state of California last. We have a few more districts there. But in Arizona, we have 2 districts outstanding. These are both swing districts, the 1st district and the 6th district. Biden won both of these districts by very, very narrow margins in 2020. Republicans already won the 2nd district by a pretty solid margin here for Eli Crane. But looking at the other districts that we have left, the 6th district, Republicans are currently up by 2 points. Kirsten Engel is probably not going to win. Republicans are going to gain in their support in Arizona over the next few days, as most of the mail-in ballots have pretty much been counted, and we still have a lot of the election day vote, a lot of the in-person votes that are left to be counted. So Democrats are probably going to do worse and worse in Arizona. The 6th district is likely to go to Republicans, and the 4th district has already been called by many other major news networks. So that's going to go to Greg Stanton. He's going to win his re-election in the 4th district, and so this district here is going to be likely or lean Republican currently. And for the other district that remains, this being the 1st district, again, for this map, I'm going to give it to Democrats, although it is also very likely that Republicans do pick up a victory there. So we have just California left. First off, Kevin Kiley is probably going to win in this Eastern district in the Golden State. So this is the 3rd district. Trump won it by 1.9%, but Kevin Kiley, the former mayor of San Diego, he's a pretty good candidate. He is probably going to win. The other races that are outstanding, we have the 22nd district, this being the district for David Valadao, and this is a Biden plus 13 district, but he won in 2020 in a Biden plus 11 district, and so currently I do have him favored to win his re-election as well, and I also have Mike Garcia favored in the 27th district of California. Garcia won in a pretty solid Democratic district in 2020, and this year he's running in a Biden plus 13 district, but he is probably going to win that as well. So currently it's 217, 216. Republicans need to win both of the 2 remaining seats. Democrats only need 1. And so looking at these 2 districts, we have first the 45th district, or 41st district, and also the 45th remaining. So in 45, Michelle Steele is running for re-election. She leads by 10 points with 60% of the votes in. This is a Biden plus 6.3 district. If you look at the map right here, Michelle Steele's district, the 45th district, if I can just find it on this map here, Biden plus 6.3, and the other district, this being I believe the 39th district, or not 39th, but the district that we have left here is the 41st district. So in the 41st district of California, Trump won it by 1%. And so Republicans are actually favored in both of these districts because there are Republican incumbents. But currently, I think Michelle Steele might lose her re-election. That is definitely the more likely scenario for Democrats. She may be up by 10 points, but this is in the Los Angeles metro area. The other districts, the other votes that we have left, are going to favor Jay Chen a lot more. In the 41st district, Ken Calvert is in a very close race, but I don't think Democrats are going to do as well there. But realistically, both of these districts could go red, or they both could go blue, because in the 45th district, Michelle Steele is a stronger incumbent than Ken Calvert. So as you can see here, it's going to be very, very tight. And so I'm going to give Democrats the victory in the 45th district for now, and Republicans in the 41st district, but this is just a preliminary map. This is a more optimistic scenario for Democrats. Realistically, it could go both ways. All of these districts will have a major impact on who eventually wins, and so I'm going to fill in some of the leaning districts first, just so that we can have a more complete map without making any huge assumptions. So in Arizona, we have, I believe that it is the 6th district race. The 6th district, this is probably going to go to Republicans, so I'm going to leave it as lean Republican. And then up here in Washington, both of these districts could realistically go either way. So currently I have 5 elections remaining, with 3 districts filled in for Republicans in California and then 1 more in Arizona. And so this means that Democrats need to win all 4 of the remaining districts. Republicans only need to win 2, and it's much more likely that Republicans win 2 than, of course, Democrats win every single one of them. So the House is going to be very, very close. It's not impossible for Democrats to win, but currently they are at a disadvantage, although the fact that they even have a chance at winning the majority really says a lot about how terribly the GOP has done this cycle. And now moving on to the Senate, currently it's 48-49 Democrats, with a very narrow deficit in terms of just the races that have been fully called. Although if you do look at the 3 remaining races in Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, Democrats are favored in every single one of them. They need to win 2. Republicans also need to win 2 because they need 51 seats. Democrats only need 50, as they have the vice presidency. The Alaska race has been called in favor of either one Republican, either Kelly Tshibaka or Lisa Murkowski. But in the end, Murkowski is going to win. The Chesborough votes are going to split heavily in favor of Murkowski, and Kelly Tshibaka is not going to defeat the incumbent senator. In Georgia, we have a runoff election between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker, and this race is very likely to go to Warnock. He's only 0.6% away from the majority already in the first round, and Brian Kemp will no longer be on the ballot to help out Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker lost the plurality of the vote by 1 point. Brian Kemp won by almost a double-digit margin in the governor's race against Stacey Abrams. And so when looking at the odds right now for Democrats, they have a 71% chance at winning this race. I believe that if Donald Trump goes to Georgia and helps out Herschel Walker, Republicans will be in an even worse position. But if Ron DeSantis goes, Republicans will probably do a little bit better. But Herschel Walker has been a terrible nominee. That's why I've said Georgia is going to go to a runoff. It was unlikely for Warnock to get to 50%, more likely for Walker if Brian Kemp is able to help him out enough, but it seems that in the end, Brian Kemp's impact on how well Herschel Walker has done has not been as significant as Republicans would have hoped. And so as a result, Herschel Walker is now behind Raphael Warnock in basically every single metric when calculating the Georgia race. And so the 2 elections they have left, these are the 2 races that we will be able to call before a runoff. There will be no runoffs in Arizona or Nevada. Only a plurality of the vote is needed to win in these 2 states. In the first race we're going to go over is Arizona. Mark Kelly currently leads by 8 points in Maricopa County. Joe Biden flipped this county in 2020 for the first time in, I believe, 3-4 decades. It was a major victory for Democrats. You cannot win Arizona without winning Maricopa County. Also, Mark Kelly's doing better in Pima County. This is a county that Tucson is located in, the 2nd largest county in the state. And so with a 6-point lead, it's very unlikely that Blake Masters is going to catch up. Now, the numbers for Republicans are going to come up in the next few days, as we do have more of the in-person vote as well as in-person dropped-off ballots to be counted. But Kari Lake is even doing poorly against Katie Hobbs. In fact, if you look at the betting markets right now, Katie Hobbs is expected to defeat Kari Lake, although it's still very, very close. That's just how terribly Republicans right now are doing in Arizona, despite the final polls showing that Republicans were going to win both races, Arizona included. So Arizona, according to my latest forecast, is going to go Republican. There's a very, very good chance that Mark Kelly does indeed win his re-election. In Georgia as well, Herschel Walker is probably not going to defeat Raphael Warnock. This is going to be just like 2020. Democrats have the momentum. The reason why I gave Georgia to Republicans in my final prediction is because I did believe that Republicans were going to win the narrowest majority possible, and that was going to be very demotivating for Democrats. I mean, if there really was a red wave, Herschel Walker would probably be able to defeat Raphael Warnock, probably in the first round, honestly. But with there being even a runoff, if Republicans had a very good night elsewhere, it's much less likely Democrats would have turned out for Raphael Warnock if they were going to lose the majority anyways. But with us being in a completely different situation now, Democrats are heavily favored in the Peach State, and they're also even favored in Nevada, even though Masto is currently behind by 1%. This race is probably going to flip with the 10% of votes remaining. In Washoe County, Catherine Cortez Masto leads. She lost this county in 2016. Joe Biden also lost his county in 2020. Both Biden and Masto, as well as Hillary Clinton, only won Nevada with Clark County, a county in which Masto currently is outperforming Biden in. And as those votes come in, the 7% remaining, those are going to favor Catherine Cortez Masto even more. So in the end, Democrats are going to win a very narrow victory in the Silver State for its Senate seat. It's going to be very, very close, but currently it is more likely, much more likely even, that Masto wins for re-election. Although in the governor election, Steve Sisolak is probably going to lose. This is going to be the only flip in terms of all of the governor races for Republicans in the 2022 midterm cycle, unless they also flip Arizona, which currently seems less likely that they're going to do so. So when looking at the Senate and the House maps, we have a strong favoring for Democrats currently, 51-49. Democrats are heavily favored when it comes to the Senate right now. In fact, when looking at the Senate control market as a whole, currently they have a 94% chance at controlling the Senate after 2022. Republicans are, of course, favored in the House, but it's going to depend on how these 4 remaining races go. Although some of my other projections may be off in 1 or 2 other seats, we might see Democrats winning in Mike Garcia's seat, as well as in the 22nd District of California as well, but currently it is unlikely that that is going to happen. It's going to be very, very close in the House. Kevin McCarthy is going to control a very narrow majority, but we're just going to wait and see what happens here. Currently, MSNBC projects a 220-seat majority for Republicans with a 7-seat margin of error, so it could still go both ways. And so that will be it for this video. Democrats and Republicans still neck and neck in the House, but Republicans are clearly behind in the Senate. So that'll be it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like it down below if you enjoyed it. Comment down below which party you think will be able to win in the House, and do you think Democrats will actually win both Nevada and Arizona? Subscribe to my channel if you haven't for continued midterm coverage, as well as coverage of the 2022 Georgia runoffs. We also have a website, electionhq.com, where my forecast for the Georgia race will be released in just a few days as we get data for that election. And so with that said, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.